So this week's topic of Amuna Mondays was living with Torah while being true to yourself. I personally feel like it was a topic that has been pushed off for a while because I just didn't really know the exact angle I'd go in presenting it, and I think it's an extremely positive and like super important topic that should be addressed properly, so that's why I was pushing it off. But this past week and week and a half, I actually decided last minute to just decide to do this as a topic. And the reason is because I personally feel like it's a struggle that everybody faces. It's they'll dive, it's either you're raised religious, and then come high school, come college time, you're like, oh, I'm this isn't me. I want to find out who I am. And then there's the types that wasn't brought up that religious, but then decides to jump in into the religious aspect and find themselves doing things, saying things, dressing a certain way that's not them, and they feel like they're losing themselves. This isn't me either. So it's how do you balance the two? How do you balance Torah and balance your life as well, you personally as well? So personally, I experienced it in the past week and a half. I went to about 2 months to 3 months ago, I took upon myself shomer nigia, not touching a girl, hug, kiss, any no touching, no physical touch to a girl. It's definitely a new thing to me. I didn't know anything about it. Growing up, it wasn't something that was even remotely done in my life, and I decided, I see a lot of people, a lot of friends doing it, and it's and this and that, and I was looking at it and I was like, there's really no negative angle to it, so why not take it upon myself? So I jumped in, just head on. And at first I found it pretty simple. It was really good. I enjoyed it. And then I just went to this program, a summit type thing, and it's co-ed. I wasn't worried about it because I'm not that physical of a person. I'm not just going to walk up to people and hug them and touch them. I was more of growing up, I was always a greeter. When people come up, it's oh, hi, how are you? And you give them a hug or you give them a handshake type thing. So I just understood, okay, I'm just not going to do that. I just won't position myself for that to happen. But we were there for an entire week, so 7 straight days. And in 7 days, I met a lot of people. I met a lot of new friends, again, from all over the world, from UK, from Australia, from Israel, London, everywhere, all over. And come the last night, everybody's going over to each other, giving each other hugs, saying bye, and I'm just sitting there what do I do? And I decided, I'm just gonna go sit outside, put my earbuds in, and write a poem on it, and try to understand what do I do? I was confused as to this isn't me to not go and give somebody a handshake or a hug goodbye, especially when I just spent a whole entire week with them. I was what the heck? So I was confused. And I felt I was this isn't me. I'm putting up a front. This isn't who I am. And sat there, and then eventually I decided, you know what? I just won't go in for one. But if somebody was to just come up and give you open arms, I'm not going to say no. And that's what I did. And then come Shabbat, it was just something again that was just sitting with me, am I shomer, am I not shomer? And it's you are, and there's to your to your level, and you have to understand that there are levels. Somebody that says that there are no levels, it's either all in or all out, it's not true. It's not true, because the process is a lot different. When somebody starts from 0, their process is different to get to 100, as opposed to somebody that started with 50% or 75 or even 25%. It's a whole different process. So you have to understand, the only time you should ever be even remotely comparing yourself is if you can genuinely understand that person starting from the same place as you. Which again, 99.999% of the time, that's never the case. Which is why comparing just makes absolutely no sense. But Saturday night, I went out with friends, and I was debating. I was do I, am I shomer or am I not? What's happening? So I ended up just giving a handshake to a person that I was just there at the meal with us. So I gave him a handshake. And then when I left, I was driving back home, and I was on 95, and I see a huge accident happen, a massive accident. Like this person was going like well over 100 miles an hour and slammed into another car. And everybody else is just dodging the debris and just driving, and I'm like, well, I'm so lost. I'm like, these people can easily be like dead and people are just driving by. So I pull over and I run like a quarter mile down the intersection, like the 95, and it gets to both cars. I open one door, and this guy's literally like passed out, like with his face in the airbag. And I was like shaking. I was like, hello, are you okay? And he wakes up. He's like, well, I don't know what happened. I was like, you're in an accident, bro. Just come. He took him out of the car because his car was like smoking and stuff. And then I ran to the other car, which was still in the middle of the street. Like, this is on the middle of 95. People are just going like 80 miles an hour right by. So I tried to open the door and it was stuck. I was like, oh my gosh. But I see like the newer cars, all the lights turn on in the car and they call 911. So I was looking in the window and I see the girl just stunned. There's just a girl and she's just stunned, like sitting there just staring. And I was like knocking on the window and telling her to like kick the door and I'll pull it because it's stuck. She kicks the door and I pull it and it opens up and I pull her out of the car and she was shaking like a leaf. Like I never felt another human being like shake so much in my life. And I pulled her out of the car and she's like holding me and I was just like, we walked to the like out of the street and everything, just pulling people away. And in that process, like as I'm pulling her away, I hear a car screeching. This guy was going at least like 80, 90 miles an hour and he slammed his brake. He was like about to slam into her car that she was in. And like, again, it was her driver's seat that was like her driver's side that was facing the ongoing traffic. And I was just like, whoa, like, oh my gosh. So eventually it was a 2-hour thing. It was like 3:00 in the morning. I finally get home and I'm laying in bed and after everything. And I decided, like, like I always try to reflect on the day and like what just happened. So especially even more so now. So I was just like, whoa. And it crossed my mind that the girl I pulled out of the car was a female. And I was like, oh, whoa. And then I just like understood. I was like, you know what? Like the fact that it was even a question bothered me. I was like, what the heck? Like, why am I even debating this? This isn't who I am. I wasn't raised like this. This isn't even the person I want to be. I don't want to be that kind of person that's even second guessing something so natural as to like pulling somebody out of a car, but oh, they're a female, so it's even crossing my mind. And it just really taught me, you know what, like, yeah, I might be falling down from the aspect of, oh, I was this and now I'm this, but it's more of like, now I have the opportunity to build back up in a more legitimate way, learn about it, as opposed to just going full heart like, oh, I want to do this, as opposed to knowledge. Add knowledge to your feeling as well, and you'll see you'll actually be a lot bigger, like more sturdy on whatever path you're going on. But it's like, it comes down to just, again, being true to yourself. And at that point I wasn't being true to myself. I was just taking on something that I really didn't fully understand, and because I thought and I figured, oh, it's a really good thing. But the reality is it a good thing? Yes. Can it cause harm? It can, because I can end up losing myself and then being stirred away from the whole entire aspect of the religion if not done properly. So I think the proper thing is, if you want to go in and dive into something, learn about it. The more you learn about it, the more you'll adopt it. But don't go full heart and don't go full logic. There has to be the balance of both. Learn it while at the same time wanting to do it. You want to do something, learn about it. Take upon a learning aspect and educate yourself more on it. And you'll find yourself actually enjoying the process of it. So that's what I took out of this past 2 weeks in that whole experience. But yeah, I hope anybody can relate. And if anybody has any other comments or questions about it, I'm more than happy to speak on it. But thanks for listening, and I'll see you guys next week. All right, this poem is called Battle. I'm struggling now. It's more internal. That all I'm feeling right now makes me just not feel normal. Fighting with myself. This is more of a battle. I'm losing control. Like riding with no saddle. This is not me. Yet it's the good choice. What am I supposed to do when I feel like I have no voice?